everyone, this is Sabrina. Welcome back to my channel. I thought it would be fun to do a computer behind the scenes in my creative space. I always do ones where I'm talking face to face and I show you around my craft space. Now I'm gonna do the computer because usually I show you projects after I've printed all the pieces. But this time, like I said, it's behind the scenes and I will be working with my Ali Edwards story kits. I really want to get some projects done. I have two projects for the work story kit. One of them is about my son and his job this past summer as a camp leader, and I did a ton of different tags all over the page, made for a really fun design. I just need him to answer a few questions about his job and what he liked and everything like that, but we both keep forgetting to do that interview. And then this circle one is about my workout journey, and I scrap lifted a project from Morgan Beal. So those ones are kind of in progress, but what I really want to work on is this idea I have using the Make story kit. I did one canvas where I put all the cards on the canvas to kind of hopefully jumpstart my ideas. And I did come up with one, like I said, with photos of me in my creative space last December. I know I've mentioned this with Project Life, but I really don't mind being a year behind, quote unquote behind, but I really like working in the season. And if I can scrapbook current photos, great. But if the photos are from last November or last December, that's totally okay with me. So I'm grabbing these photos of me and my space, and I am going to do a large photo on the left-hand side and then a second page with a bunch of tags. It's a design that I am coming back to again and again, and I think that I've been able to embrace that a little bit more, repeating my designs by taking the Ali Edwards Start Here class. I actually have 2 videos on my channel with ideas and projects that I have gotten from that class. It has been so informative. So now that I have an idea for this Make project, I open up a 25 by 15 canvas, and then I have 2 white shapes that are sized 7 by 8.25, and I go ahead and take my large photo and I clip it into one of the shapes. I put the photo over it, and then I take my mouse and hover it over the layer and then click Alt, and that will clip it in there. I then go into the Make story kit and I pull a ton of pieces that I think I can use. Now, my original intention was to stick with the colors of the kit, but as I'm working with this project, I slowly realized that this is not gonna work, and I should just go with my own colors and the colors that really complement the photos and the colors that I'm wearing. And I've also come to the realization that and this is not very nice to myself, I'm sure you guys will agree if you leave a comment, but I don't count digital story kit projects as part of my list of projects that I have done with the kits, which I think is really unfair to myself, like I said. So I'm going to go back through my list of projects and kind of see what I've done digitally. I think it's because I started getting the physical story kit and I felt like, well, if I did a digital project and then printed it out, I must use the physical components. And sometimes that's just not always possible, especially when with digital, it's just so easy to change the colors. So I need to give myself some grace and know that I have probably used the kits way more than I think. So I've got the tag shape from one of the digital stamps. It was a really huge tag, really huge stamp. So I went ahead and used that and duplicated it 5 more times, and I'm able to have 6 on the page. Now this chipboard that comes in the kit is a little small. So what I did is I selected the paint bucket, grabbed the color from that chipboard, and then selected the tag stamp shape and went ahead and changed the color of that digital large tag. So now the digital stamp tag and the chipboard look the same. They look like they are one cohesive piece. And I love doing that with my digital stamps, changing the color so that way it can be one cohesive piece when, say, a piece is smaller. So like I could do this with circles. I could do this with all kinds of shapes. Right now, I am trying to find the photo on my canvas so that way I can shrink it down and add it into the tag. I thought it would be fun to have 2 tags be photos of me or other photos, because I think I wound up with 3 photos that I wanted to use. Now this chipboard from the kit had the really dark green and bright blue. It's colors I don't normally work with, but I'm trying to stick with the colors in the kit. So I changed the color of the tag just like I did for the first tag. I changed it to the blue to match the chipboard. Then I added the currently making chipboard and went ahead and clipped it into that shape so they're one piece, and I'm leaving it like that for now, but I am going to change it. This time when I go in to clip the second photo, I go ahead and back out of my canvas. I zoom out, and then that way I can see where my photo is and go ahead and shrink it down easier. Now for this next tag, I thought I was going to do a dark colored tag, but I'm going to switch that in a little bit. I go to this tag and I get kind of a tan neutral color. So eventually I'm going to wind up with like 2 different neutral colors and then a gray and also a really cool almost sage green from my shirt. And it's going to be just a fantastic color scheme that I really, really love, and I'm so glad that I decided to go with my own color scheme. So on this digital brush, I want to change it to a white. So again, when I color my digital stamps, I go up to the top and I just add a layer and then use my paint bucket and put the white on and then clip it. And then I'm able to go to my project and drag that digital stamp onto my canvas, and then it is now white and I can resize it. So I'm going to put it right in the middle with the tan tag over the top of that. So I can use that as a journaling piece once I print it out, and I'll do like a bullet point list of different things that I was working on. As you can see, these hearts are not going to work as is, and so I'm going to need to change them. I start by changing the outline of one of the hearts, and the olive green is just not going to work. So then I try my paint bucket and I get the currently making color, like that dark green, and that is not going to work. So I kind of pick my own green based off of my shirt, and that's where I get the sage green, and I really like that color, so I'm going to go ahead and go with that. I do change the outline of the heart again, so that way it's not as dark. At least I'm pretty sure I do. I go into the make. This is kind of the title piece that I'm going to use, and I go ahead and change that to a tan, and when I cut it out in my Cameo, I will cut it twice, so that way it has just a little bit more dimension to it and kind of looks like faux chipboard. So that's always my little trick to do that. So now I'm looking for some other embellishments that I can use, and I find a circle that has a glue bottle and some scissors, and I will just have to recolor that as well, which is going to be super easy. First, I am going to fix this currently making tag. Remember, I said that I thought I was going to go with the colors of the kit, but I am deciding to not go with those colors. And I'm going to go ahead and change that tag to the green color that I've come up with. And I'm also going to get rid of the currently making chipboard, and instead I will change the color of Maker's Gonna Make and add that on top of the green tag in just a second. I also decided that the darkest tag should be in the middle, and then I Make Stuff will be on the far right. It just made more sense to have the darkest tag in the middle, and then I can do a cluster of embellishments, like with the heart that I've recolored, and then I will recolor another piece as well. So I just added a layer to the digital stamp Maker's Gonna Make, and I added it to the top of the green tag. And a trick that I do to make sure that digital pieces blend in to, say, the background of a tag or a paper and make it look more cohesive and almost as if it was a real pattern paper is I just turn down the opacity and then it blends in really nicely. So for Maker's Gonna Make, I only did 85% opacity. I could have done more, and usually I would have done more if I was doing like a repeat pattern, but I was not doing that this time, so I just did a little bit of turning down the opacity. These were the embellishments that I was looking for, and I recolored the glue bottle to the beige color, and I will go ahead and add that in the middle with the heart. I think I am going to change the color of the heart, at least the outline, so that way that also does not blend in too much. But I love those little circle embellishments that I found. I found another one that is like a cup of pencils and a ruler. So I will change the color of those in just a second. I just changed the outline of the heart. Now I'm going to make another heart and just change the colors a little bit because I want to have the same type of cluster that I have in the middle of the right hand side of the page that I just put together. I'm going to do the same cluster next to the title Make. So I'll have a heart there and one more circle embellishment, the one that I was telling you about with the pencils. And so I will recolor that with the green color. It has lots of little parts to the drawing, so I will more than likely have to zoom in order to get everything recolored, because sometimes when you recolor a piece like this, you click something wrong, and you can see it just happen. You click something and it colors everything, and it's not coloring what you need it to color. So you have to just zoom in a little bit so that way you can see it better and make sure you're clicking in the right location and changing the color. And now that the color is changed, I can go ahead and bring it to my canvas and add it on top of the heart and shrink it down just a little bit. And I am almost done with this particular project. I wanted to add one more piece to this page, and that is going to be some messy stamping down at the bottom. I felt like the bottom of the page could use just a little something, and also doing some repeat stamping at the bottom is going to make it look more realistic to me. And so I will take the Making Magic stamp and I'm going to change it to the darkest color, which is like the black, and then I will drag it onto my canvas. Make sure that the Making Magic is down where the shape of the paper is. That way I can clip it into that paper. And so what I'll do now is I'll play with the opacity just like I did for Maker's Gonna Make. So I will go ahead and duplicate this digital stamp, and I will duplicate it to somewhere else on this white space that I have and turn down the opacity, and then just keep going with this repeat messy stamping, and it gives the perfect realistic looking messy repeat stamping, and I just love it. It's another one of my tricks that I do all the time, and I just do it for like the first inch of the paper, and I can go ahead and just print that all out and it looks fantastic. So this project is pretty much done. All I have to do is print out the photos and also print out all the tags along with the heart and the various circles. I just wanted to add a few more of the Making Magic and just really going all out with the messy stamping, but I love how this came together, and I'm so glad that I went with my own color scheme. And truly for me, that, like I said earlier, that is one of my favorite pieces of digital scrapbooking and hybrid scrapbooking, is being able to have that flexibility to make my own color schemes. This canvas that you're seeing with my son pulling a suitcase, that is from the Explore Story Kit. I thought that I would work on that canvas in this video, but instead I decided to do the Make project and now some comfort projects. So when I got to the story kit, I realized that the colors in the story kit match perfectly with a family selfie that I had just took like a couple days prior. So I know that I'm going to use one of the selfies as like a 4x6 and the other one can be a smaller selfie. That's all I have for this plan as I'm starting out. You can see that I have my large 48 by 24 canvas for the comfort story kit, and there's nothing on it because, like I said, I just got the kit when I started making the behind the scenes. And I have a 5.5 by 8.5 shape that's kind of in the middle, and then I also have the 7 by 8.25 inches canvas, and I have 2 of those. So I'm thinking that the family selfies will be a 2-page project, but I'm not sure how. So I'm going to have to play around and see what I come up with. But I'm glad that you guys are here, and I hope you're enjoying seeing the computer behind the scenes and how a lot of my projects start and then come to life. So this is not a dig on my daughter or anything, but she was being a little stinker and she did not want her photo taken, which is fine. But it was just like 3 out of 4 wanted the picture taken. So it's like you're overruled. But she was trying to run away and I don't know what happened to her arm. So my whole goal is to kind of cover up where her arm is looking somewhat awkward. So I will definitely look out for an embellishment I can put there. So that way also too, your eye is not drawn to her silly arm trick, I guess you could say. I love the card that says "so comfy," and I want to figure out a way to use that card. And I'm kind of looking at my canvas and thinking about what can I do to incorporate that and how can I use it. I eventually settle on using the card, of course, and then going back over to it and using the marquee tool. It's almost like marching ants, and dragging it along the left-hand side of the card and copying and then pasting that piece of the blue pattern onto my canvas. And now what I can do is duplicate it, copy it, and extend it all the way to the end of the family photo. And now I have like a pattern paper or a photo mat. You know, same thing. I have one big piece that has the title "So Comfy," and it extends further than 4x6. Now I'll take all of those layers, you can see me highlighting them on the right hand side, right click and merge them together. So that way it is one cohesive piece and it just makes it so much easier, especially when you're printing. And it also makes the file sizes that you have smaller. So now instead of going with just a 1 page or going with a 1 page and not knowing what I'm doing with the second page, I now know what I'm going to do with the second page. I'm going to do the horizontal, and then I will have a currently card. And just like I did in the Make tags, I went ahead and changed the color of the journaling box so that way it looked like a horizontal 3x4 card, even though it started out as a vertical journaling card. I then combined the layers, merged them together, and added a stroke. I add the stroke so that way I can see where I print, and it just works really well for me to do it like that. I'm going through the Comfort Story Kit and pulling out all the blues and the greens because I want to use those colors, and I want to figure out some sort of embellishment for the right-hand side. Lately, I'm enjoying a lot of white space on my layouts, and I am going to leave a lot of white space on this layout, but I do really want to do something with these hearts. So the hearts in the digital kit come with 3 different sizes. I don't know, but there's puffy sticker 1, 2, and 3 in all these different colors. And as I'm pulling them in, I noticed that olive, the one at the bottom, is the biggest. And I'm like, okay, well that can be at the bottom. And I go back to the kit and I pull some more hearts because it's not really clear in the digital kit what is the biggest and what's not the biggest. because like I pulled a light blue 3 and it was not as big as the olive 3. It just had no rhyme or reason. But either way, I'm playing with all the hearts and I'm stacking them into a really nice tower, and I really love how this piece is coming together. It's going to make a really nice visual piece for my layout and add something unique and different to my page. I also at one point thought I would use the secondary title of Feeling Comfortable, but I decided not to, so that's why I didn't put it in the editing of this video. I just felt like because I had currently in Allie's handwriting that having a second piece of her handwriting might be too much, and I felt like Feeling Comfortable might take away from the main title, which was so comfy. So now I'm done fussing with all the hearts, and I really love how I have them all stacked in that particular order. So I moved the white paper over so that way I could highlight all the heart layers and adjust it. And I can also go ahead and merge them into one layer if I wanted to make it easier when I go to cut it. And I think that's eventually what I do when I make my cut sheet. Now over on the left-hand side, I want to figure out the large embellishment to kind of cover up my daughter being silly. And I know that there is this giant, I think it's a hexagon, I want to say, a giant shape, and I find a stamp that says find the good in every day. And I start off by making that tag blue, and I'm going to drag that onto my canvas, and I notice that it's not going to work. It's not bold enough, and it doesn't stand out enough to make a visual impact, and it doesn't do what I really wanted to do. So I'm going to go ahead and change that to a gray, especially since when I changed the color of the find the good in each day, I went with kind of the olive color. And that looked horrible together. The combination looked horrible. It was like hurt your eyes type of thing. You know how that happens sometimes? You look at a pattern or you put two things together and you're just like, wow, those colors they are not good together. And that's how that looked. So I went back to the tag shape and changed it to kind of the gray neutral. And I just shrunk that down. And then I will bring the layer Find Good in Each Day. I'll bring that up a little bit. And I decided to try something else with this digital stamp. I change it to white. Then I will drag it onto my canvas, and I'm going to layer it on top of the olive green Find the Good. And you know what that creates? That creates a really nice 3-dimensional look, like it's just popping off of the tag, and I really love that. It's visually different from all the other fonts on the page, and so I just really love how that turned out. Now I'm just going to make 2 small clusters of hearts, and that will wrap up this page. It's pretty simple, but I love it. So the last little thing that I want to do on this video is one other comfort project I had in mind, inspired by Linda. She does the classroom ideas for the story kits, and Linda loves creating on Instagram. She cut up this card, I believe it was this card. She cut it up, and that's what I want to do to document the story of my daughter in drama. She was in the drama play, and she had a speaking part, and she was a part of like 5 different songs, and it's just amazing. Because I told her, I said, when I was in 5th grade, and she even did a play in her 4th grade year, and I said, there's no way your mother could have gotten up there in 4th or 5th grade. So that is just absolutely amazing that you can do that. And so she is a total rock star. So what I'm going to do is a large photo on the left-hand side. It's a photo I took of her when I dropped her off early one morning with her hair all done, and she was in one of her costumes, and she had her costume box, and she looks awesome. I also have a few other photos that some of the parents took and then shared, and I'm going to use those. I think I already printed those, so that's why I didn't crop any of them in this video. But I wanted to go to this journaling card and use the marquee tool again and highlight the different boxes that I want to use, and I picked 3, pink, red, and yellow, and then I'll just bring in the other photos. that I have already printed. I do want to shrink down this close-up photo of my daughter right after I curled her hair. I got a close-up photo of her. She was supposed to have her hair curled every time she did a performance, but we quickly learned that her hair is so fine and thin that it does not hold curls. But she still looked amazing, especially with the makeup. She just looks so grown up, or maybe just more like me, I guess. But she always looks beautiful, but it was just different. She looked different with her makeup and hair. So the next part of this layout is to cut up this card. I think Linda had that idea as well. And with all that negative space on the right-hand side of this photo, I figured that would be a good spot to put the cut apart words. But I quickly discovered that it is a lot of cut out words, and it would just overtake the photo and take away from the photo. So what I'm going to do is a vellum insert. So I'll have the full page photo, a vellum insert in the middle, and then probably a 2x2 page protector. So in order to make that clear kind of to myself, I'm going to scoot over the 2x2 squares and then put the cut apart lines in the middle. That way it's kind of a note to myself that I need to do a vellum insert, and I'll do some other embellishment in that negative space. So those are all of my ideas that I have to share with you, and I really hope you guys have enjoyed seeing this behind the scenes. I would love a thumbs up or a subscribe if you guys are new to my channel, and I just thoroughly enjoyed showing you all of these different projects. And as you can see, another little sneak peek is December Daily is coming, and so I made a folder for that. And I'm also going to show you my Allie Edwards December Daily file. It has a lot of stuff in it, and I'm excited to kind of dive into there and see what I can prep and what I can play with in the coming weeks. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed and have a good day.